Hi, my mum is going to make unicorn horns today.
Hi, I'm here with Yuri from AdviseMyStyle,
Okay.
and I'm going to show you how to make these unicorn horns, and Yuri's going to show you some fantastic unicorn face paint for Halloween. So make sure you keep watching. So here we have the black unicorn again, and now we're going to make a white unicorn. So the first things first, there's lots of different ways of making a horn, a unicorn horn. I'm going to use brown paper. Now the idea came from the lovely Jackie at Happy Hooligans. I was discussing with her this new craft, the unicorn horn craft, and I said, oh, what should I use? You know, you can use felt, you can use cones, you can use cardboard, and she came up with the brown paper bag, which I love because it's recycling. We don't have brown paper bags in the UK, so I got this brown paper. Because now, get a big piece. This is like bigger than A4. I tried to make it look brown paper bag size. I fold it in half. And then all you start doing is you kind of create a cone, like this. Like that, so you've got a cone. Okay, and then you carry on and give it some twists. Give it that unicorn shape. Then basically, I just keep shaping it until, and not too tight, I try and keep it a bit loose at this end, because I do want that sort of funneled cone-shaped look, like that. So, let's see, I think I'm quite happy with that. Right, so once I've got the rough shape, I mean, how easy was that? That's your basic unicorn shape, and it will look good at the end, so you just have to trust yourself. So, twist it, thinner at the end, a bit loose at the bottom. Now I'm going to get a bit of masking tape. The reason I use masking tape is because you can paint over it, but to be honest, you can use normal tape as well. But I use masking tape just to hold it a little bit in place and give it shape, so that when I'm painting it, it doesn't all unravel. I'm going to cut this bit off underneath. Oh, here we go. So, I've got my basic shape, like this. The next thing I'm going to need is some acrylic paint. Here I have a big pot of white. I'm going to need a little bit of water, just because then it helps the acrylic paint go on a bit more smoothly. And I'm going to need 2 brushes. I'm just reaching out to brushes as I speak. They're here on my wall. The reason I need 2 brushes is one for painting, and the other one I'll put in here, and that means I've got a little holder, so when it's finished for drying I can pop it in a glass and it can rest. Otherwise I've got a bit of a problem trying to balance it. So, you know, use something like this to help it stay up. So let's get painting. Now this is obviously, oh, I can't get the paint open. Oh, here we go. Got it open. This is obviously a slightly bigger project. Normally I have nice little neat projects that you can see really well, so I hope you were able to see properly how to make that horn. Because obviously this is a bigger thing. It doesn't always fit on the screen. So now you have to paint all over, like so. The thing is with acrylic paints, they're like a plastic, aren't they? So once they dry, they help shape and keep the shape a bit of your horn. It is fragile, so don't sit on it, but you know, it shouldn't come undone. Now this is quite a long horn, and there's probably an adult sized one. I'm going to measure it on my children later, well once it's dry and almost ready, and it will cut it down probably to about here, so I'm probably painting a lot more than I actually need. But I'd rather make it a little bit bigger first, and then as it comes to the actual fitting, so to speak, you make sure it looks the right sort of length for whoever will be wearing it. Okay, so I'm having one last look, checking it all the way around. I think I'm happy. Now you don't have to do this because you might not like messy fingers, but I can't help myself and I will get messy fingers. I'm just going to take it up here and give it one more twist, and then I'll wash my hands. I know it's a bit silly to do it with paint on, but I just like to make sure it's really got those twists in there. Then I'm going to take my trusty brush, like so, pop it in the glass to dry and come back later. Here we go. See you in a minute. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut into my paper You can draw this if you want out first. So let me cut it a bit more. Again, you know I like doing a lot of freehand type crafting. So ideally, I'm going to measure this against that one. So that's a bit smaller, which is good because this is going to be my daughter's unicorn horn. So I'm just measuring against that. So when you're doing this with your children, what you need to do is you need to take your Alice band, you need to cut some little strips and then hold it onto your child's head and see how it looks. So I'm going to prepare it, and I'm probably going to take it apart later once I've seen it on my daughter and maybe just trim it down a little bit. But this is in essence, it's a bit like a teardrop or a leaf with a flat bottom. And then once you've created that, you could fold it a little bit like this, create snip and snip, and then you feed it through your Alice band like so. And like I say, I'm going to go back and measure this on my daughter's head and just make sure that it looks the part, or my son's head, actually depends on who wants to wear it. Now we make the ears. They're really easy, and again, it's not an exact science, just kind of go with your instinct. You take the rest of your paper, you fold it over, and again, you can draw it first if you want, but again, I'm doing this freehand and I haven't got a pen handy, so because of that. So I'm going to do one. I think that's a little bit big. I'm going to compare it to mine over here. And again, this is going to be my children's ears, so just a bit smaller. There we go. Have a look what that looks like. I think that looks like it might be quite cute. Great. So now that I've got one that I'm happy with, I'm going to use that as a template for the second one, so that they basically are as alike as possible. Here we go. Now comes the fun bit. Okay, so lots of deliberating on which colours I'm going to use. Let me move that to the side. I think after all that oohing and ahhing, I'm going to go with gold. So I'm going to move this over. I'm going to put it on a piece of paper. The reason I put it on a piece of paper, that's the best way to catch glitter. So I've got my glitter ready up here. I bet you're all saying, no, use the blue, no, use the white. Oh, still can't decide. I'm going to lay this flat, and then I'm going to get a bit of glue. It can be any glue. This is like a children's craft glue. It's a runny one. PVA glue is fine. And I'm going to just use the glue and go round, oopsie, the out of the ear. Okay, so this is a dry-ish. I'm never one for patience. So now I'm going to take my glue again. Like I say, this is quite runny glue, so I actually think slightly less runny glue might be better. But as always, it's an experiment. So I'm pouring glue and twisting it as I go. Now I'm going to get my glitter and shake it all over. Yeah, nice all over. Don't worry about where it goes. I know there's dots of glue here. I'm just going to pop it up. Some of it will stick to the paper, obviously, because I've got bits of dropped glue on there, but I don't think that matters. If you don't have glitter, you can use obviously glitter glue sticks. That's less messy. You can really direct where you stick it. That's okay. Or you can use just some silver paint or some silver pens if you've got some, or gold pens or gold pens. So I mean, or you can maybe wrap some ribbon round if you've got some gold ribbon. So you know, it's not always about the materials I've used. It's just about giving you the kind of inspiration to have a go yourself. So I'm going to let this dry now and put the rest of the paper. Now we're at the last step of assembly. The first thing you would like to do is glue on your ears. So they're really easy. You flap them round. I'm actually going to stick a little bit of glue down. Actually, do it in a minute. Flap it round like so. Stick a little glue. You can use Pritt stick as well. I just happen to have my glue gun on this one because it's a bit, it's just faster and more secure. I also like to stick a tiny bit of glue down here so that the ears don't roll around. Sometimes they do. Like so. First ear. Move it over. Second ear. Flap it together. Like so. Again, just bring it under the little flap here. Tiny bit of glue. Doesn't need a lot to hold it in place. Here we go. Straighten it. I think I need a tiny bit more in here. Okay, now comes the moment of truth. Now you want the horn. So I'm going to give this a little curl just to shape it. Now you want it to fit the head. So I'm going to cut it at an angle, like so. Now depending on the angle you cut, you can make it stand up more, flatter, straighter. So again, you know, this is a preference. This is the angle that we like. I already know because I've made one before, but you can always chop a little bit more off, of course not too much. There we go, that looks good to me, don't you think? I'll add lots of hot glue gun. You can, like I've said before, use PVA glue, but then you have to hold it in place for a little bit whilst it sets, which obviously is a bit boring. So hot glue gun in this instance is really helpful. And then position it in place, hold it briefly, and there you have your own cardboard or paper bag unicorn horn. Anyway, I hope you liked today's tutorial and see you here on Rated Art again soon.